Donald Trump warned that there would be a cost. Tonight, it came to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. 6 coffins of the 6 Americans who have died in this war with Iran, accompanied by the First Lady and Vice President, the President who said he would be a peacemaker. And tonight, Donald Trump deepened his diplomatic row with the British Prime Minister. Keir Starmer initially refused to cooperate with the strikes on Iran, even preventing the use of British bases. That position has shifted as the UK and its allies were dragged in. Today, the BBC learned that the aircraft carrier, the Prince of Wales, was being readied for a possible deployment, which met with a scathing response from the US President that Keir Starmer spent so much time trying to woo. The United Kingdom, our once great ally, maybe the greatest of them all, is finally giving serious thought to sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East, wrote the President on social media. That's okay, Prime Minister. We don't need them any longer. But we will remember, we don't need people that join wars after we've already won. And Donald Trump does seem to think he's winning. For another night, the skies over Tehran have an unnatural orange glow, caused by massive US and Israeli airstrikes. The latest site to be hit, an oil refinery to the south of the capital. One Tehran resident told the BBC it was as if night had turned into day. Donald Trump had hoped this overwhelming firepower would force Iran to unconditional surrender. Earlier, the country's president said that would never happen, but he did apologize to his Gulf neighbors for attacks on their territory. That was controversial, and later the country's ambassador to the UK said they might continue if assistance was given to the US or Israel.
The aggression of the American side and the Israeli regime is continued. There is no doubt we will defend ourselves. And if they want to use from this military bases, although that we do not want to do that, there is no doubt. Certainly we will defend ourselves accordingly.
But it is in Iran and Lebanon where the human cost has been highest. Israel has continued to carry out airstrikes against the militant group Hezbollah, although civilians are also being killed. There were also strikes in the town of Mayfadour.
The death toll is not final, but there are 5 martyrs, and the number could increase because the scale of destruction is big, and we're still searching for more people.
This war has already brought terrible damage to parts of the Middle East, claiming lives, shaking economies, and further fracturing already troubled relationships. Joe Inwood, BBC News.
Operations as evidence that they see the special relationship as still working, but clearly this is a difficult moment for the UK government. I'm told that number 1 has been placed on advanced readiness, though it's being played down the extent to which we might actually, the likelihood that we might actually see it in the Middle East or the Mediterranean in the coming days. The UK's other aircraft...
A huge explosion from our position here a few hours ago. Earlier, Dubai's international airport also came under attack in a drone strike. Here's Nick Beak.
A glistening Dubai skyscraper smouldering tonight. The tower in the Marina area, a magnet for Brits, the latest neighborhood to be hit by Iran from the air. This the fallout of an interception during a missile and drone attack. One UK expat telling the BBC his experience.
We've heard booms and interceptions through the week, but this has been definitely the most prominent one. The windows shook, and we're just trying to work out what's going on.
This footage said to show a fire that's ignited nearby. Authorities confirmed a Pakistani national driving his car had been killed by falling debris. Tonight's attack has shattered any hope people here may have had that Iran was prepared to stop firing at its neighbours in the Gulf. In fact, the UAE said today it intercepted 5 missiles and more than 100 drones. And the day had started with an Iranian attack on the main airport here in Dubai that could have been catastrophic.
It's coming to the airport again. Yeah, Allah, straight to the airport. Oh my God.
The drone crashed down right next to a terminal building. Planes on the tarmac nearby. This at the world's busiest airport for international passenger traffic. Without even acknowledging the strike, Dubai authorities announced they were halting flights to protect the safety of passengers, they said. But services quickly resumed. More people able to escape a crisis that has engulfed the Middle East. The reality here in Dubai tonight, a far cry from the polished picture so often uploaded to social media. Iran continues to lash out at Gulf states with links to the US. The reach of the embattled neighbour across the water felt more than ever. Nick Beak, BBC News, Dubai.
Israeli bombing. Azwira Davis now reports from the town of Nabi Cheat. The main focus of this latest assault may have been the attempted recovery of the body of a dead Israeli soldier from the Lebanon War of the 1980s.
In the eastern town of Nabi Cheat, the devastating aftermath of a huge Israeli air and ground assault. A massive crater and vehicles blasted aside like toys. More than 40 people killed, says Lebanon's health ministry. This is a Hezbollah stronghold, and there had been repeated Israeli warnings for civilians to leave, but many stayed.
At midnight, we felt a strange movement on one side of the village. It turned out to be an Israeli commandos unit deployed for some mission. The resistance then surrounded them, and heavy clashes ensued.
It all happened in the dead of night. Israeli special forces dropped in by helicopter in vicious street battles against Hezbollah. By daybreak, evidence of the deadly chaos. The scale of the Israeli assault was overwhelming. Around every corner, a building not just hit, but destroyed. Well, this appears to have been one of the biggest Israeli operations of this short conflict so far. Locals say there were more than 40 airstrikes in the space of just 30 minutes. But was all of this a distraction for the real Israeli objective? The main goal may have been the recovery of a dead Israeli airman, Ron Arad, who was killed in the 80s. Whatever the intelligence, Israel later acknowledged his body wasn't there. As we left another bombed house, this, said relatives, the home of a Lebanese army officer, not Hezbollah. 12 people, all women and children, reportedly killed here, some bodies trapped under the rubble. If the rescue of a fallen fighter was Israel's aim, it came at a heavy price. Azwira Davis, BBC News, in the Bekaa Valley.
Also been reported in Erbil in the north of the country, all Algerian.
Occasions. Now that was the sound of incoming drones being intercepted by air defence systems at Erbil International Airport, a short distance from here, which has been targeted repeatedly during the week. No casualties there, but smoke was rising from some of the buildings at the airport. There were rocket attacks on the US Embassy in Baghdad, as you mentioned, the first in the course of this war. And there was also a deadly ballistic missile attack on a base of an Iranian opposition group near the border with Iran. Now, all of this is a very loud, very clear message coming from Iran. It does not want those fighters going across the border. In the last hour, Donald Trump has reversed his position on this and said he does not want the Kurds to enter the war, that it would make the situation too complex.